Thank you for the wonderful work, Brother Matri, that you've been doing. Thank you for the wonderful work, Brother Paul. You've always kept us strong and you've always encouraged us. We are also happy that we've continued to receive support from you concerning the Urantia conference and other aspects of life. Basically, we are fine here, though affected by the lockdown. We can really move out. We can really gather as far as our Urantia mission is concerned, but we always try to fix things out. We've always devised means of reaching the message to different people. And we are so grateful since we have fully facilitated everyone with data connection to be able to join this meeting. So hopefully they will join in. It is just, it has just clocked 5, and I expect every member to have joined, but maybe due to some challenges, they are still off, but we expect them.
I'm going to put up a fundraiser both on Facebook and on Spiritual Family Net for food relief, for so that you can help those people nearby that are really compromised by the lockdown, which disables their normal life routine by which they earn a living.
Because it's one of the ways how now we can reach out to those members. Right now, we tested the sample. Of course, if there was no this kind of lockdown, where we have restricted the movements, we have no driving if we don't have a reason, all those things. We are thinking of course, providing physical items, like, for example, posho, beans, cooking oil, so basic needs to all the members. But unfortunately, we couldn't manage since now everyone is in lockdown and they're all in distance. I don't know why. Yeah, Brother Paul putting up a fundraiser, we'll be able to support it. Everyone will be able to support by sharing, inviting our friends to donate to eat and all that, because that's very important for us to finish up the mission of the Urantia, because this is our family and we have to ensure that we grow it. Rachel, how are you surviving since you stay in town?
We're asking about the way we do it since we are in town. Actually, we are always at home, doing the work from home. So we always take a walk in case we do want to walk somewhere, maybe for an emergency, either you want some things, you have to use your foot.
I am seeing policies everywhere. How are you surviving even at home? Because I think you guys close you close your houses by 5:30.
Police doesn't have any problem with the people, actually, unless when you're doing something wrong, maybe you're not following the SOPs. As long as you follow the SOPs, like you have to wear your mask and make sure that you do not walk unnecessarily. Make sure that you keep the curfew time. That's it.
Staying at home is affecting us, that at times we find ourselves like having a lot of tasks to do, like incorporating housework with the office work sometimes becomes a challenge, but all in all, we are doing well, though the pandemic has is a bit straining us, and it's affecting our works, of course, reaching out to the communities and many others. So we pray that it all goes well soon and we become free to continue building resilient communities.
For 65 years, people have been devoting themselves to the study of these revelations. And what it's doing is inspiring a renaissance in artwork and creativity. You can address anybody in the universe, and they appear just like they're in front of you. You would think they're standing beside you. The quality of communication grows as we enter the worlds that are millions of years more advanced than ours. John the Revelator saw these harps of God and in his revelation on the Sea of Glass, and he explained them, but the seraphim that ministers to me, she allowed me for a moment to witness what these devices are like. And it's like a three-dimensional image. You would think the person you're with is right there beside you. And there's no delays or problems with the transmissions. They're on circuits that are very, very stable, like the sun that warms the earth.
When the storm rages, I find myself asking, why does our faith fail and our prayers seem to go unanswered?
You must trust in your faith and pray earnestly. But also remember, prayer is not a technique of escape from conflict, but rather a stimulus to growth in the very face of conflict.
Thank you for watching with me. I am very happy that we have all at least captured something from the video. Let's start our today's meeting. Next, please, let's do chap 30 seconds.
We are happy to meet today. Just greetings from Carol Halwa, who is unable to be with us, but he has sent her regards.
This is our agenda for this meeting. Welcome everyone to this meeting. First of all, we shall have a prayer. We assigned the roles in the previous meeting, so we shall check on the task accomplishment by the members. We shall also talk about the topics of discussion for the conference. We shall review the budget. We shall view the attendance list of the conference, depending on the present circumstances of the pandemic. And then we shall also review the conference date. We shall also have presenters identification. And then we shall still be voting for the Urantia community members. So everyone is free to participate.
It's proposed.
Maybe what we should do.
Then we will be discussing the roles of each member. That's what was discussed. Proposed.
Hallelujah.
Not voting, but proposed.
So this is my suggestion, that maybe today we can discuss the roles of these positions, but not proposing the names. Maybe the voting will be entire another day.
Yes.
Or the proposing.
Today we are not
maybe today for
today
this.
we are not voting. We are purely, these are proposed Urantia Uganda committee member positions. Purely positions. So we will need to discuss the roles in briefly about each post. And if we need to amend anything, then we will do it today. It's why we wanted everyone to be on board. And this has delayed actually since last time's meeting, even the second one which we had on Zoom. So then we are proposing to see the feel of everyone and also see how best now the rest can be taken on.
We can either add in or remove some positions according to the moment.
Yes.
So now what means that if we are to fill these positions, it will be another day.
Yeah,
yes, Bishop Moses. It was an error, but has been rectified. So the voting will brainstorming on the positions to be held, the different positions to be held. We can either add on the existing ones or we can subtract.
Who's that? Oh, Gopi, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Is Moses or Joseph hasn't arrived yet?
You have been struggling to connect.
So I don't know if does anybody know if Angelo is going to try to make it, or Joseph?
1 minute of prayer, please.
Let us all humble ourselves and ask Father in heaven. We are so much grateful for thy spirit and thy today. We want to glorify your name, a gift of life, not forgetting internet that is connecting us in one place We may not be physically in one place, but in Him we are one. We are all together. As we talk and discuss today, send your Holy Spirit to guide us and to lead us, and so that everything we have proposed, have added, and we have talked about may be of use and may actually help us continue with our conference to come. And I say all these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Please tell us what's the next on the agenda so that we can continue. Others will find us on the way.
Yes, next on agenda is the roll call. I believe we've gone through that for the previous minutes.
Just to give us highlights of the previous minutes without sharing.
In the previous minutes, the meeting that was held on 17th of April, it had 11 members who attended, and most of them are in this Zoom meeting, except for Angelo, who is not here, Pastor Joseph Oyuki, who is not here. So the rest of the members attended, and maybe exception of Brother Paul, who was not part of that meeting. We had a recap of the meetings we had in 2020 in preparation for the conference. We had communications from the country chairperson. We had that is Bishop Moses Kahara. We had communication from the IFC adjunct member, Marty Jokers. We had highlights from the treasury, that's Caroline Kahara. And then we had a communication from the hotel contact person, had a members update on outreaches. We also had a planning moment, and under planning moment, we had a 2021 August conference review. We had a Urantia book outreaches. We had a second Myra award updates, and also we had the Urantia book structure outreach plan, but this was postponed for another meeting. We had a way forward, we had a picture moment, and then we had closure and departure. Taking you through the minutes, self-introduction was done, and all the members present were recorded. We also had a recap of the as we held in 2020 concerning the conference that was supposed to take place then to August 2021. The meeting was pushed to August 2021. We had communications. Now, in the communications from the chair, the country chairperson began by appreciating the spirit of the members in moving the ministry's work, carrying out its ministerial work, so much challenging, and urged members to keep the spirit. So we had the IFC adjunct member who talked about the impact of the Urantia book, and he gave us highlights of how many books he received and how many he had in his custody. We also had the treasury who informed the members that some money for the hotel was received and paid. That is for the conference venue. And we had the hotel contact person who informed members that the IFC had paid 10,480.29 Canadian dollars, equivalent to 30 million, which is an equivalent of 50% of the required funds for the conference venue. He suggested that members should inspect the venue and tell the management their preferences. So we had updates from the outreaches with Elvis Kadama and Mate Jokers, who introduced the Urantia book to 20 groups of women in Mayuge district, 10 groups of women in Central Region, 10 groups of women in Kasese district. So those were some of the milestones from the Urantia outreach. And we also had other members who still gave updates about the Urantia outreach. And Westwa John Bill, who met 3 directors of ministries, 2 from Jinja district and 1 from Busia in January. And we also had Pastor Oyuki Joseph, who gave out books to pastors. He believed that these would easily relate what was in the Bible, the Urantia book. Other updates came in from the members, as I had shared these minutes in the group. So I hope everyone got a chance to go through them. For those specifically who never attended the meeting. We had a planning moment the adjunct members say that most of the members in the family have been able to receive grants from the Urantia International Fellowship. So we had the picture moment, and we had the closure and departure. Back to you, Mate.
Okay, thank you so much, Billy, for sharing insights, though you have forgotten one last more meeting, which we captured last time on Zoom. Updates on that is that, of course, for some of the members who missed the Zoom call that we had last time, we updated on the topics and also further suggestions on how best can we allocate members. Because we couldn't discuss more since other members were not there, so we only discussed highlights of what we need to do when we come back together, all of us, and be able to share concerning the meeting. So for the next, in case of any other business that has not been shared, please, we will be able to cover that offline. So we will take it to the WhatsApp group. Yes, Bide, next on the agenda.
Next on the agenda, we are having a sharing session from the members. So that is our next item on the agenda.
I believe to save time, since we have shared our reports, in case anyone wants to read about the reports that each member has worked on and all that, we can be able to visit the SFN, the Spiritual Family Network, and we read about each person's report. So for anyone who is interested to read about, and for us who have not yet submitted, me inclusive, please let's do so before this month closes. At least we have an allowance of 3 days, 2 to 3 days, so that we are able to respond and able to update our status. For the second miler, any update? Any other member who has received the second miler, please update us on what it's doing currently.
Well, talking about the second miler update, I think I'm one of the members who received the update just of the grant just of recent. I was able to receive $2,000 US in support of the project that I proposed, which was an ICT center. And this would help us in our Urantia book outreach by utilizing the online resources, also in printing the materials that we need, and also aid communication. We have an ICT center set up at Lugole, that is Lugole ICT Center. So we're having a printer and a desktop machine, hoping for more funding as we had expected.
Okay, in line with that, we have an upcoming meeting concerning the second miler beneficiaries of Uganda, Africa at large. So for whosoever received the second miler grant, we will be having a live chat with Paula. So let's keep in mind that next month, either 7th or 9th, I'm not yet sure, but we have to check the emails and confirm the exact date. So it will be a live feed where it will be put on YouTube and any other platform, where, of course, to be a chat like a round table tea, where we take tea as we talk. So this will be a great opportunity for us to share our insights concerning the second miler, how it has helped us, what challenges are we facing, and what extra support do we need from the committee. So that now they are also aware of what challenges we go through and how best they can come on board to support us more further. Is it, if they are able to increase the funding from 1,000 to more of that, it will be also a good opportunity for us to appreciate what they are doing for us. So that will be another way how we can benefit when we are engaged. Any addition as we go to the next, which is of course the main core of this meeting, which is the conference preparation milestone and review. Anyone who has a comment, please unmute and say something. And also, since we are in the quarter, the first quarter of the year, of the month, the second quarter rather, which is now for us, we count it as the first quarter since the budget has been, of course, read. So the first quarter of the financial year, we have, of course, to prepare a financial report concerning all the activities we've been doing since July of 2020 to July of 2021. so that now we know how have the funds that we have received over time been used for particular projects and programs that we have. So we'll be able to capture that so that we can be able to share.
On my side, as I told you last time, I shared my grant. I spent it on renting out halls where we have been meeting, different teams have been meeting in these halls for discussions and sharing different kind of experiences. Then we also have been doing some sort of guidance and counseling using these halls as our centers. Only that we had paid the Myers grant only helped us to pay for 6 months, and from then it has been a real struggle up to now. We have a balance of around $1,000 that we need to pay to the landlords. I pray that God provide some funding so that we can do our research dates.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, for sharing. Any other member to share so that we can go to the next agenda item on the agenda? How best can we put our efforts all together and also renew our energies? Remember, we still have various sections that are still missing and need our support, especially for the preparations, and also seeing how best can we put the conference in place. And most importantly, task accomplishment. The topics were shared with all of us, but the update, we are also given some feedback from our sister Monica concerning the topics, which all of us we can review and be able to ascertain or allocate these topics to those that we have selected. So who could those be that we would select, and of course match them with the topics that we have, and also among our very own members, because we would like us to start the work for the flyers on different speakers, be it with their topics that they are going to present during that day. And also international concern in terms of the pandemic, which has of course caused a lot of mayhem in different locations, and also now hitting Uganda badly. So are we still moving with the same number of 120? Because we would like not to follow into trouble where we have 120 members in separate rooms, but it will look burden on our shoulders, and also putting people's lives in danger, because not everyone will be able to respond when the new wave is still ongoing. I think it will be a good time for us to rethink and be able to align our expectations with the new era. That is very important. So how best can we do that is for us to discuss and see how best now everything can be put in place to have all things in order. In terms of participation, yes, Bishop.
According to the situation currently, to my view, I would suggest that let's cut the number to a half, since we have been our target with the 120. Let's plan from either 50 or maximally 60, so that we should not postpone the meeting, because we don't know what will happen. Because according to the information which is not yet been declared, but which people talk about, the insiders, it is that we may experience a third wave after this second wave of the virus. The third wave is coming, and more dangerously. So we don't know where the world is heading. So if we keep on postponing, and then according to the situation is not favoring us, and then this propels us to extend, to postpone to another year. So when will this end? So I think to get back to our target and then to accomplish what we had planned earlier before, I think we can cut the number to either half or to 50. Even when was come to us, we can even decide to put our conference. We have decided if was come to us. So that is my suggestion. Member, thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Bishop. This is really a great movement. I'm very glad that, Bishop, you've been able to present that because you are the main chief of the conference when it comes to the preparations. Asante sana. Yes, Derek,
yes.
I'm saying Derek is hand before Andrew.
To talk about what Bishop has just said, just want some clarification because if we say that we are going to reduce these people that are going to attend into a half, would it mean that our costs are going to reduce as well? Do you get
Yes,
that?
that's a great question, which needs to be addressed.
Bishop,
On
go
the
ahead.
side of the hotel and the arrangements which was there before, I think contracts have conditions and terms and conditions. But according to this gentleman we met, the manager, this man is understandable. We can still sit down and talk with him and address this to him, and we see what he will say. Have a Zoom meeting with him directly. We talk to him direct as a committee, as members. We connect him on Zoom, and then we address him instead of individuals reaching him. Much as the distance is there due to tuition, distance is not a barrier. Still, we have technology. We can have time, and then we tell him the decisions that we would have made today. Thank you very much.
That is really wonderful, Bishop Moses. And my concern is about, because I had a bishop suggest that we can maybe make it a Zoom conference, but then if we go into those dynamics, then what will happen with the funds that we already paid the hotel? So we need to consider in all that so that we make a right decision.
All right, thank you so much. My concern is I'm like, as we consider adjusting or contracting the number of the attendees, we should also think of the criterion of selecting the attendees. So that if Andrew, I'm supposed to carry some 4 members, I also know and prepare them. Then the other thing, there are some things we cannot imagine.
Meaning that we shall organize a special inquiry Zoom.
So in simple terms, we shall be organizing another Zoom meeting, including the hotel management, so that we can have all our grievances addressed to them, and then we find a way forward. Is that what we should suggest now?
Yeah, I would like to speak on the conference as well. God, you must love Him to know Him, but with our brothers and sisters, we must actually know them, gain a sympathetic understanding of who they are, and love them even as we love ourselves. Conferences allow those relationships to blossom, and so it's extremely important that you gather every 3 years, because relationships will build up that will become lifelong friendships, truly enduring friendship. And so that's why it's so critically important to have conferences. However, because of the circumstances with this pandemic, it will greatly restrict the capacity for people to interact. They'll be wearing face masks, there'll be social distancing, and everything that is attributed to the affection that men and women show for each other, the developments of relationships, not only the conference agenda, but in the off times, many people gather through a conference, and many valuable things found it right in that relationship. Monty and I have been discussing this over and over again. The possibility maybe to put this conference ahead a year and then use the remaining funds on the IFC. I think there's $2,300 US American. Monica and I have also raised on our network 3,500 Canadian dollars. And perhaps we can use those funds this year for smaller gatherings amongst yourselves, away from the cities, maybe in rural areas where tents can be set up and smaller gatherings can be had. But it's so critically important for you to learn, each one of you, to know and love your brothers and sisters. And that is what this whole revelation is about, that relationship. Anyway, I think at this time, consider the possibility of putting it a year down the road. There may even be the possibility that I can make it to the conference. I don't know. Canada is really becoming a communist police state. Now they're imposing all kinds of restrictions. They're trying to pass bills that you need to be vaccinated to travel, to leave Canada or come back in. I personally won't subject myself to these vaccines because this cabal has to be put down. Now, we should know and realize our Creator promised us that the keys to the social and economic affairs of this world would be passed into the hands of those who can hear the Father's voice. That promise would be to postpone the conference until next year and leave the deposit in place that we have, and then use the remaining monies in the IFC for Uganda, and see if we can arrange some smaller meetings, the real leaders of the revelation, and form up relationships, make our plans for the expansion of the revelation in smaller groups. We can try this, creating Zoom meetings where people can gather and meet and know each other, hear each other's outlooks and viewpoints, and plan things together. So anyway, I just want to put that thought in your minds rather than to attempt a conference that's restricted. When we had originally planned to have this last year, we had a full house. We had 120 people clamoring to come to this conference. And I would hate to see it spoiled by policing at the conference for mask wearing and policing at the conference for social distancing. All of these things are inhuman. So that is my suggestion, that we postpone it and see if we can meet when we have no restrictions for normal social contact.
Okay, yes, that would be nice. And of course, I've taken note of these points. One is to utilize what we have in budget for simple. We can do capacity building. We have a lot of suggestions that we can make. After knowing that, then we discuss about the extension. But if we are to extend to next year, it may not be in this August, because now we have to extend a little bit nearer. Or else, because August is not very far, July is on the door. 42 days are still on. Having a conference where we are on policies there, policies here, those things may not work for us. So what will work for us much better is to understand the situation, either push to months ahead, like 2 months from now. Of course, the third wave is on the way. We cannot say that's not coming on board, but of course, we need to find a way how best can we mitigate the risk of us. Now, of course, bringing people together requires a lot, and also requires a lot of legalities, guidelines, and all that protocol and everything. So requesting for a postponement maybe to 3 months, let's say we can decide anonymously during that meeting with the management to either push it to November within the same year, but with a small number. So all those are suggestions that we need to find out. Ladies are very quiet. Please, can you share something concerning that?
Oh, yes, Brother Mate, maybe before we cross on to the ladies, Brother Paul talked about establishing a long-term relationship. So we also need to put into consideration that the hotel management has also equally been affected. So we need also to think about them before we enter into, as we devise possible means of seeing how we can have our conference held. Probably I would also suggest like postponing, but not to a far date in next year would be also okay. And then we use the rest of the funds and doing our simple outreaches. Back to you, Mate.
Okay, now that's good. We'll be able at least to come up with something that can equip you, and also you can utilize the same knowledge that you have acquired from other members, and also utilize your own communities and also share it.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Now, the other issue also, members, I would like members not to think about any idea of refund from the hotel management. That one, absolutely, they will not accept, because it is not their failure.
Yep.
It is us and the situation at hand. We should only think about other ways that we can still take benefit of our payments that we are paid them. The other other issue also, as Matt was talking, that came to my mind was that these are the numbers of people that would like to join, because we have interested people that would like to join the conference. That after the meeting, those people who would have not attended as expected can receive the copies of the recordings of the video coverage, and then they can have opportunity to watch and listen.
Not only recordings, we're also looking forward to have photography. So we look forward, of course, to have videography and photography team, and we make sure that the event is colorful to its expectation. And we will ensure that at least we have the live feed of the event to Zoom, from Zoom to YouTube and Facebook, from people who may not be able to fly into Uganda, who can present through their videos. If the videos or if the live feed for them to present online virtually is not possible, their videos can be able to act as their presentations. We're also working on that. Then also coming up a unified magazine that gathers the information from every team leader, your inspirations in your respective communities. So that at the end of the day, someone picks a leaflet.
Okay, I want to comment about the reaction of Paul and the Bishop Moses. In the first place, it is very right not to consider refunding. And then I'll take the idea of Brother Paul of pushing ahead the conference. We should not try to force ends to meet. People are dying terribly, and as I talk, I'm still in self-quarantine. If you hold a conference, you cannot leave me behind. Of course, I will feel bad. But if I come, I might carry COVID, and I've seen Brazil is even putting on a mask.
And he's scared of his life.
He's sparing my life. So we should not force ends to meet.
Okay, Rachel, you had your hand up.
Yeah, my hand was up, but actually, I'd like to appreciate all the Brother Moses was talking about the photography, so I thought of the Zoom thing whereby we can live stream actually to those who are not with us, to those who are far away, who have not been engaged like on the on-site. We should also adopt that. So I think after talking to the management and see what we can do, Brother Paul's idea of utilizing the funds in building the capacities of other small groups, I think that would be better.
Billy, have you taken note of that? Derek?
So for me, all our ideas and all this that we are discussing, all that we discuss here we must have that Zoom meet so that we can see our way out tension of the conference for everyone, because most people have been waiting for this opportunity. Have been waiting for over 2 years now, I think, so that we can have these guys around. We have very many guys that actually have read these revelations and would love to share with us.
At least now we can adopt to online trainings, online gathering, at least bi-weekly, where we have twice a month, where we come together. And also we start now featuring, like what, by of course reminding our fellow members on what is going on, and also catching up. Featuring stories, like what we wanted to do last time for videograph. And this is still, of course, valid, which we can all of us adopt and be able to.
We all know that after COVID, or after the third wave, or the fourth wave, things will be, or the fifth one. So what we should think about is, for now, start teaching people who are very interested to use the technology, of course. So that would be our way out. Back to you, Mate.
All right. We still have a lot to discuss, but I'm very grateful that today's meeting is much better than the last one. Asante sana. Of course, the participants list, I already have it in place, and we just need to look into it. Next on agenda, Bill.
So our next item on the agenda, we need to talk about the speakers stroke presenter identification. We need to identify now speakers for the conference.
Before we go to the speakers, the topics need to be reviewed, and also we amend the changes that were made. Remember, we have some suggestions that were interjected in the topic. Have those been considered, especially by Angelo and Andrew, who were assigned that test? So we need to review.
Oh, sure. Thanks for the reminder. Since we had jumped on to the conference date review,
I suggest, can we do that via email or rather WhatsApp? Because that document was provided a long time ago. But we need to make amendments as per the suggestions made by our sister Monica, so that we can match them very well and be able to share an inclusive template that has been revised.
Yes, I can share them via WhatsApp, but I wanted only to share them for the purpose of this meeting. That's why I wanted to share the screen, but let me do it via WhatsApp so that everyone can have a copy, maybe someone who missed it last time.
I'm very excited, and I'd want to
from the national welcome.
Prayers. I'm in the rural, and as you see me here, I'm just against walls here and there. trying to connect my network. Otherwise, all distinguished guests, I'm very thankful to God for this wonderful meeting. I found you almost 3/4 of your discussions, and they all seem to be very exciting. I'm picking from there. Thank you, Brother Mate.
All right, please take it away, Mr. Bide.
So I've shared the topics of discussion in the group. So I urge every member to go through those topics and then please submit in your suggestions so that we can be able to fit them into our schedule or program for the conference.
Okay.
Then we need to talk about the budget review. We need a budget review.
Since we're looking forward to, of course, interject this year, so we need to vote anonymously since all of us we are here. What do we think about this year's goal? Should we do community activities more, especially capacity building, as it has been suggested by everyone here? Anonymous, and because we cannot force the situation, like what Andrew has said. If we force it, we may crash, or you crash with the police. So we need to choose according to what we can swallow, so that we know that from today's meeting we have agreed to do ABCD. What is in our budget is going to be used for this and this activity, and we'll be able to provide reports according to what we have accomplished in that particular period of time.
I talked about the budget review, and then the attendance list review, the conference date, and then we need to talk about the speakers and the presenters. We need to identify speakers and presenters for the conference. Agenda number 5, first preparation, milestone, stroke review.
Speakers and all that, I think in line with what we still have ahead, we can skip that.
Okay, so now we can move on to the next agenda in the interest of time. Item number 6 is proposed Urantia Uganda committee member positions. So we need to propose positions for the Urantia committee members, Uganda. And the proposed positions are, we have the chairperson, the general secretary, but I would like to urge members to visit their WhatsApp. There is a copy of the agenda. So the positions proposed are chairperson, general secretary, treasurer, Urantia book outreach coordinator, public relations, stock communications, Urantia book library coordinator, then conference custodian. Bishop Moses had suggested another position that he will clarify on as we go on. Back to you, Mate. In response to item number 6 on the agenda about the proposed positions, as Bishop Moses had suggested that we make it for another day, specifically for those positions, I suggest we do the same.
We have, of course, accomplished all the items in the agenda. And since that is postponed for another date?
Yes, and before we wind up, we need to fix that date here so that it is communicated when every member is here on a Zoom meeting.
Yes, please, that is very important. So which date should we propose for the next meeting? Andrew?
I think that date should be before August and possibly July.
July when?
Can't we make it on 25th? On 25th again.
25th again, July? Don't you think that will be too far?
I think that is too far.
It's a suggestion.
Okay.
And we suggest our meetings to be after at least every 2 weeks. So are we members voting on that about the second Friday of July? Are we consenting to that?
Yes, for me.
Second Friday of July, so we shall be doing it second week of every month, meaning middle month we check it. Okay, I don't know what others think.
It must be okay for everyone because this is our responsibility. If we set a date, everyone must show up because we are leaders and we have to set an example for everyone. Correct. If we cannot show up in time and yet everything is facilitated for, and then that means we are not doing our work.
We are the leaders and we must set an example, inspire others to join us.
This has been a great meeting with all of you and hope to catch up next time.